Have you ever wondered why modern women are often accused of giving bad advice to the younger generation of women? It's a question that has raised countless eyebrows and sparked numerous debates. There seems to be a growing perception that the advice being passed down from older to younger women is not only misguided, but also potentially harmful. Take, for instance, the concept of advocating for toxic behavior towards men. This advice, often cloaked in the guise of empowerment, promotes an adversarial dynamic that can lead to unhealthy relationships. Then there is the promotion of unrealistic expectations, the idea that women should demand the world and settle for nothing less. While ambition is certainly a virtue, setting the bar impossibly high can lead to disappointment and disillusionment. So why is this happening? What's driving this trend of questionable advice? Now let's dive deeper into this issue and try to understand the reasons behind this concerning trend. One of the biggest criticisms leveled at modern women is the illusion they create around their advice. This illusion is underpinned by a belief that their advice is sound, beneficial, and should be taken to heart by the younger generation of women. It's as though they've crafted a narrative where their guidance is the ultimate key to navigating relationships, careers, and life in general. Take, for instance, the concept of men accepting bad behavior. It's a puzzling piece of advice that appears to be gaining traction. The narrative goes something like this: if he really cares about you, he'll put up with your worst traits. Now, it's important to remember that everyone has flaws, but using them as a litmus test for a partner's commitment, that's where the water gets murky. This is where figures like the sprinkle lady come into play. For those unfamiliar, she's known for her audacious advice that often borders on the delusional. She's an extreme example, yes, but her growing influence cannot be overlooked. Her message, wrapped in glitz and glamour, tends to resonate with many modern women, who then pass on this misguided wisdom to the younger generation. This cycle perpetuates a belief system that not only encourages toxicity, but also sets unrealistic expectations about relationships. It's a bit like handing someone a map to a supposed treasure, but the map leads to a shark-infested ocean. Not the best survival strategy, right? The illusion, however, is so well crafted that it's easy to get swept up in it. The promise of empowerment, the allure of independence, the validation of one's worst traits. It's a heady mix. But here's the catch. It's a mix that promises a lot but delivers very little. It's like a mirage in a desert, enticing from a distance but empty upon closer inspection. This illusion of good advice sadly does more harm than good. It sets up young women for disappointment, confusion, and heartbreak. It's like a faulty compass that leads you off course, and before you know it, you're lost in a labyrinth of bad decisions and regret. But as we'll see, this advice often leads to more harm than good. It's high time we shatter this illusion and pave the way for a healthier narrative. Another major factor contributing to the issue is the old adage, misery loves company. Yes, indeed, it's a rather bleak thought, but one we cannot dismiss when we delve deep into the motives of these older women. Imagine this. You've been through the ringer in your own relationships. You've faced heartbreak, disappointment, and maybe even betrayal. Now you see a younger generation of women, fresh-faced and naive, entering the same battlefield you've just barely survived. Here's where things get interesting. Some might choose to guide these young women towards a better path, a path devoid of the mistakes they themselves made. But, alas, not all choose this noble route. There's a theory that suggests these older women might view the younger generation as competition. It's a survival instinct, a relic from a time when resources were scarce and every other woman was a rival for a man's attention. This primitive mindset, unfortunately, has no place in our modern society, where we strive for equality and mutual respect. Yet, it persists, covertly influencing the advice these women give to their younger counterparts. The advice doled out isn't about empowering these young women or preparing them for the complexities of relationships. It's about sabotage. It's about ensuring that these young women don't find the success in their relationships that these older women couldn't find in their own. It's the manifestation of the saying, misery loves company. They'd rather see these young women join them in their unhappiness than see them succeed where they failed. This competitive mindset isn't just unhelpful, it's harmful. It's detrimental to the development of healthy relationships. Instead of fostering understanding and respect between genders, it breeds toxicity and resentment. It sets these young women up for failure, robbing them of the chance to learn, grow, and form meaningful relationships. This competitive mindset can be harmful and detrimental to the development of healthy relationships. So, what happens when younger women follow this advice? Well, let's consider this. Imagine being a young woman. just setting foot into the world of dating and relationships, armed with the advice that being toxic to men will somehow work in your favor. It's a tumultuous path, to say the least. The first potential consequence is the difficulty in forming healthy, balanced relationships. Relationships thrive on mutual respect, honesty, and understanding. When those elements get replaced with toxicity, the result is often conflict, dissatisfaction, and ultimately, the dissolution of the relationship. Then, there are the unrealistic expectations. The idea that men should accept a bad deal, that they should be okay with being treated poorly, is not just unfair, but also quite far from reality. Most people, regardless of their gender, seek respect and kindness in their relationships. Expecting otherwise might lead to a series of disappointments and heartbreaks. Moreover, the adoption of toxic behaviors is another significant concern. Toxicity can be contagious. When young women are told that being toxic is the way to go, they might start emulating those behaviors, thinking it's the norm. This can lead to a vicious cycle of toxic relationships, where they unknowingly become the propagators of the same damaging advice they once received. And let's not forget the impact on their self-perception and self-worth. When young women are constantly told that they need to be toxic to be successful in relationships, they might start believing that they are not enough just as they are. This can lead to a decrease in self-esteem and in some cases mental health issues like anxiety and depression. So, you see, the impact of this advice is not just immediate. It's not just about that one failed relationship or that one heartbreak. It's about the long-term effects it has on these young women, their perceptions of relationships, their behaviors, their mental health. The impact of this advice can be long-lasting and deeply damaging. What can we do to change this narrative and provide healthier, more beneficial advice to younger women? The first step is to recognize that relationships aren't about power struggles or being toxic to one another. They are about mutual respect, understanding, and love. We should encourage open communication and honesty, not manipulation or deceit. This way, both parties can express their feelings, needs, and concerns without fear of judgment or retribution. Instead of promoting harmful behaviors, we should inspire younger women to seek out relationships where they feel valued and respected. We should teach them to identify the signs of a healthy relationship and to not settle for anything less. Secondly, we need to embrace the concept of equality in relationships. A relationship is a partnership, and both parties should contribute and benefit equally. This means sharing responsibilities, making decisions together, and supporting each other's goals and aspirations. Moreover, we should encourage older women to share their experiences and lessons learned. They have a wealth of knowledge and wisdom to offer. Their stories can serve as a guide, helping younger women navigate their own relationships and avoid potential pitfalls. Additionally, we should also promote self-love and independence. Young women should know that their worth is not defined by their relationship status. They should be encouraged to pursue their passions, develop their skills, and build their own lives. This will not only boost their self-esteem, but also attract the right kind of partner who will respect and appreciate them for who they are. Lastly, it's important to foster a culture of empathy and understanding. We need to listen to the concerns of younger women and provide them with the support they need. This will help them feel valued, understood, and empowered to make the right decisions in their relationships. By changing the narrative, we can ensure that younger women are equipped with the tools they need to form healthy and successful relationships. In conclusion, the advice that modern women give younger women is a complex issue with deep-seated roots. It's a tangled web, spun from delusions of what constitutes good advice, fueled by a misguided belief that toxicity towards men is somehow acceptable. This mentality, as we've seen, is not only harmful to men but also to the women who adopt this mindset. The bitter truth is that misery does love company. Unfortunately, some older women, unable to find relationship success, may view the younger generation as competition, hindering them from finding their own happiness. This skewed narrative has a profound impact on younger women, shaping their outlook on relationships and their interactions with men. It's a cycle that needs to be broken for the sake of a healthier future. But with awareness and a commitment to change, we can start to shift the narrative and provide better guidance for the younger generation of women.